Hey guys, welcome back to the Market Matters episode 13. We
Episode 13.
are coming back at you. It's a beautiful Monday, a little windy today, but hey, we're not
freaking traffic. I tell you what,
Oh yeah, traffic's blazing.
it is.
We're here in beautiful Sacramento, California, but we're not your weathermen. We're we're real estate guys.
We're your market
right?
men.
We're your market men. So if without further ado, I guess we should just hop right in it, right?
Yeah, take it off, Chris.
All right. So as always, guys, let's talk about the current market at the real estate. Very interesting. Like we've been discussing earlier, we're kind of in this bogged down.
It's very
feels
lull.
like a lull of a market. It's very, it's a little tough out there. But hey, the more informed you are, the better we can make of it. So let's talk about it. So. As you know, we're here into June of 2023, a little bit past the halfway point. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll talk about the, this month versus same month of last year. Okay, so year to date. So the for sale right now is down 50% practically. We're at 48% down.
Year over year.
Yeah. So
What's that for sale?
For sale, yeah. So
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right.
last June we had almost. And by the way, this is always the caveat. We're talking about the Sacramento, El Dorado, and Placer counties specifically. That's markets
That's right.
we serve best. So for sale right now is about just close to 2,138. Okay, so it's about half of where it was last year at this time, which was at 4,130. So we're down almost 50% there.
Dang.
Yeah. Now this is the crazy part. So actually sold is also down by almost 45%. We're about 43.7%. Okay. So we have only sold 726 houses up until this point this month. Out of all three counties, we have not even broke 1,000 yet.
Almost 3 weeks into the month.
Yes,
too.
yes, the month's almost over. I was looking at it earlier.
That's over 3 counties.
That's over 3 counties. Yes, it's insane. So it's like earlier when last podcast we were talking about this, and I was looking over the data, each week, and I was looking at it from week 1, and I was just how low it was. I was like, oh my God, we might not even break 1,000 this month. Yeah, like it was almost in almost like the 200s or something. I'm just thinking,
wild.
Even if it was times 4, right? It's like we might. So crazy. So compared to last year, I mean, we were up almost 1,300 by this time. Okay, and then Pended, you're seeing something similar. Pended we actually are close to 1,000. We're about 930. So there's definitely people putting in contracts, but as always, not all of them. A lot of them might fall through. Or a number of them, I should say, not a bunch of them. But the pended amount last year this time was actually very kind of close, kind of similar. It was about 1,000, about 1,100. So it's only down about 20%. So it is still down.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You kind of noticed because I was mentioning the last couple of podcasts that you'll probably see that number get closer and closer in terms of like the year change. I've noticed they've kind of, in terms of the timing of the month, they slotted there's less of a percentage change with pended or sold. It's almost like one or the other depending on when we're doing the podcast. You notice? So
right.
Like I remember like from the start, it was like a big difference, like 60%,
Sure,
something like
yeah.
that. Which makes sense because like towards the beginning of last year, it was like everyone was trying to get in as soon as possible before the rates got to a level where it was just started to get a lot less affordable.
Right.
Same with sellers. They wanted to maximize it before the buyers did not go away because there was still so many in the market.
Right.
So
right.
it's interesting how it kind of slots between pended and sold. For sale will probably be pretty stuck.
Yeah.
Just because I really do think until there's an adjustment, at least until we get to like the high to mid 5s, I think that's when we'll see more of a stimulated seller's market.
Yeah.
In terms of more inventory available, just because like I said this exactly the same thing, people will not feel as sick to get into the different rate. But yeah, keep in mind, we'll keep you guys informed. It's pretty consistent, but it's kind of like the idea this is the most physical of calm before the storm I've ever felt. And I was actually talking with a potential client over the weekend, and she was kind of going back and forth. Maybe I should wait for rates and stuff like that. And as you know, I'm in the market, just waiting for the right home, being patient. And I had the same thought too. Maybe I should wait till like rates get a little bit lower and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I took my own advice, and I'm taking my own advice. And you just know that there's every single buyer that's saying, there's just so many buyers out there that are waiting for that exact scenario. Well, when rates get a little bit lower, then, well, guess what? There's probably a ton of those people on the sidelines. And once that happens, boom, the absorb market. So it's like, I'd rather get in now, time in the market. It's better than timing the market. And I won't have to deal with the competition when rates do improve. I can just refinance. I don't have to try and find a home. I already have my home.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Something to keep in mind.
That's very true. I mean, if we saw that big difference in interest rates, if it happened quick enough to, like you said, if it does go down, if it does go to 6, it does go to 5, right?
Right.
It's almost like pick your poison. You can have the high rate right now that, I mean, honestly, you could always refinance in the future, right? Or, you know, if you have all these people on the sideline saying the same thing, what happens when that rate drops? Then with low inventory as well, it's home prices might even rise as well too, just based off of if there's going to be another craziness with that.
You can put my name on this. I'd feel confident to say in the next decade rates will get lower.
Yeah,
in the next decade.
Right.
I feel like that's very conservative. It might come down a little bit sooner than that, but to me, I always look at real estate as a long-term hold, and that's how you should be looking at it as well.
Yeah.
So if you think about it in terms of long-term hold, and as long as it's affordable and comfortable for you right now, the interest rate shouldn't matter to you all that much. It's comfortability of payment. You don't want to be house poor, but you also don't want to turn your nose up to an opportunity like that when a right property does come. And you're just focused on, well, the rates are crappy. Well, what's your payment? It's just like a car loan. I don't like, at the end of the day, you find different types of financing options in order to hit what's comfortable for you.
Right.
Like, that's why 7 years are so more affordable, is because people can go for 7 years, push it out a little farther, and then you give yourself the ability you can turn a 7 into a 5 or a 4 or a 3, but you can't turn a 3 into a 7 or anything like that. So it's like, find your comfortability, and then when it is a good time, when other people are rushing back into the market trying to find inventory and things are wild, you're just chilling and you're working with your loan officer, and you're just pushing documentation. You don't have to worry about the real estate craziness.
Yeah,
it's just the financing, documentation, clearing conditions, easy peasy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in terms of rates, I can kind of cover a little bit about that. Not much movement at all. Conventional, we're still sitting in like the low 7s. You'll see on Mortgage News daily, it's like 6.95, which not really. It's more so like 7's going to be super solid. And yeah, I would just say most lenders are going to be in the low to mid 7s right now. Yeah, FHA, VA, mid to high 6. So you can kind of factor conventional to FHA and VA are both in the government category, and then conventional is just in the conventional category. Think of your government as usually about 0.5% lower, because there's other factors to consider. VA, you're granted good access to interest rates for being a veteran. FHA, you have the set MI factor. But I don't know if I mentioned this in the last one, but it's making a lot more sense to go FHA. We did go over that a little bit, but the
203K,
the more and more people are going with FHA purchases rather than conventional, mainly because the mortgage insurance dropped by 0.3% across the board for everyone, and interest rates are lower. So more often than not now, there's a lot of conventional buyers out there that are using an FHA loan for the simple fact of, like we talked about earlier, comfortability.
Yeah.
It's all about the comfortability of payment. So, and on other news as well, with interest rates and the Fed, it was a really boring month for Jerome Powell and the Fed meeting. With the rate hikes, they did a skip. It's not a pause, because it doesn't mean they're not necessarily done yet. I wish they were, but they're not. Probably going to see a couple more. We'll see. But they did a rate hike skip. this month, mainly to see if the higher borrowing rates are going to be affecting are truly affecting inflation enough, versus if they need to be looking. It's giving them more time to look within the CPI report and its data to see if they need to start working on other categories. And I hate to break it to all of you, but the primary driver is we need to see higher unemployment. Unfortunately, I hate to say that just because it makes it sound like I'm looking for people to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. There's got to be an inverse effect. Like if you're trying to reduce the amount of dollars in circulation, unfortunately, when you have higher unemployment, that means less people have less money to spend because they're not getting a set income. So they have to budget a lot more, stuff like that. So the housing market and unemployment are going to be the biggest drivers. They've already pounded the housing market.
Yeah.
So, but who knows? I mean, the only thing you can really do is suggest layoffs. But the weird thing is we got inflation going at the same time. So, you'll see stocks. If you notice, stocks have actually rallied a little bit in the last month, and inflation, that's normally just because at the end of the day, things got to adjust based on the new inflationary value. So it's a weird time, but what I've been telling people in terms of holding their money is try and buy in real estate. That's why I'm trying not to worry about the rates too much. It's like, I just want a tangible asset right now. It's like, I just want that. I want to be secure. I want to have something that I can touch, feel, and I know has finite value.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, we can all kind of relax on the rates for now. We're not going to see any big jumps or declines the next month. We'll just have to wait till next month's meeting to see what happens next.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Yeah. But that's about it on the market update side. But I have been reading a fun book called The Compound Effect. I'm sure some of you may have read it, but I love it. It's great.
Compound effects.
Yeah, it kind of just reminds me what to continue doing and also to implement. There's a few things. I want to pose this. I want someone to try and comment and see if they can get the answer before I say it. I trust you. I trust you. Put it in the comments. So this is an example in the book. So if you were to say I was one guy, well, we are two guys, and there's one guy that one guy offers you $3 million on day one, but you don't get any more for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
I get 1 penny, but it doubles every single day until the end of the month, 30 days. Who would have more money at the end of it?
Doom, 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 doom,
all right. I'm going to make sure you comment before I tell you the answer right now. So it's the penny. And the idea is the compounding of that penny, because it goes 1 + 1, 2 + 2, 2 times 2, 4 times. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on.
Doubles every day.
And then it doesn't breach the $3 million until day 29.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a pretty dang cool thing. It's actually day 30 is when it gets to 5 million, because before that it's like at 2 point something. But it's crazy. But I love the book. There's a few things that I've been taking out of it. Mainly, one thing that kind of stuck into my brain was the writing every single transaction down, because I tend to get a little cavalier with spending money on food, like specifically eating out, because you know me, I'm not a very materialistic guy. I'm a good saver, but that's one part that I could definitely improve on. Like
eating out a lot.
Yeah, for me, I work a lot, so it's like it's really a lot more convenient to pick up some Chick-fil-A, or I like a nice spot called Lean Feast. It's kind of like a Subway version of, like, you get your meat, you get your protein, you get your protein, you get your carb, and you get your veggie.
Right.
And then those things, I just find convenience in that. But when you start writing it all down, it's like I'm spending $100 a week just on my lunch.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
It opens your eyes when you write it all down.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of money that I'm allocating towards eating out is more than, like, my distribution to my IRA. Like, it's just a weird, right? Then you start
when you word it like that, yeah.
Then you start comparing it, right? And then you're like, if I can eliminate even just one of those meals.
Yeah.
That saves me $80 a month. And then over 12 months, 12 times 80, which is, drum roll please, $1,600? No. Hold that thought. $1,000. 80 times 12 is $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. 80 times 12 is 1,000. So that would save you $1,000 a month. I mean, $1,000 a year.
A year.
$1,000 a year. But that's the idea. But that's just one element. And then another example, it was just like this guy. You guys got to read this book. It's amazing. But there's a guy, essentially, it's you take two guys in the same company in the same role, and then one guy does their same old thing. They're both in sales. Nothing changed. Just kind of staying on course. They both start a little overweight. Not too much, just a little. The one guy stays with does the same thing every day, but the other guy adjusts his calories by 100 calories every day. That one adjustment that happens every day, you don't see much happen in the first few months. You don't even see really things happen until
100 calories less.
Yeah. But the compound effect starts to take into effect at like the 1.5 year mark. Because at that point, he's lost about 30 pounds.
Wow.
And that point, he's also gotten a lot more confidence, which then translates over to his job, which then allows him to find a promotion, which also finds him more financially secure, which then allows him to spend more time with his family and also have a better relationship. And then this guy starts getting on self-development. It's like that one little 100-calorie difference.
Wow.
Affected his home relationship, his promotional status at his work, and also his physical status. But the other guy, he gained 30 pounds.
Damn.
His relationship is on the rocks, and he's in the same position he was in the company.
Yeah.
Just one thing. To me, that's just very cool, and it gives hope, especially in this weird time.
Yeah.
Like small things. Like a great example is reading 15 minutes a day. You think it's super easy? I dare you to do it for 30 days straight. It seems like it's so simple.
Yeah.
Right? But for some reason, especially if you have a busy schedule, 15 minutes, because especially if you're working all day, you get home, it's 5:30, you got to make dinner, and then you're like, it's 8:00 by that point. You're like, you know what, shit. I'm going to watch some Netflix. Black Mirror just came out with a new season. I'm going to watch that. It happens so easily.
Exactly.
You know, it's just those small things can lead to big outcomes, and I think that's such a cool concept to me.
Yeah, exactly. To your point, the compounding effect, it can just it's snowballing, right? Snowballing all the very positive things in your life. And I heard something this week that I think is related to that I really liked, and it's this idea that it's almost like the law of reproduction, where it's like everything wants to reproduce itself in this world in some way or another. So it's like you can look at a plant or a fruit. A fruit is something that it's a physical thing, but it has a seed inside of itself to reproduce more of itself, right? Yeah. Or wheat or vegetables or anything, right? And it's easy to make agricultural references because those are all things that have literal seeds, right?
And growth, yeah.
In a more of a even metaphorical sense, to your point, your habits are almost a seed of themselves. When you
100%.
To your point, it's like when you get in the habit, what happened, what was greater than just the on paper, okay, we lost 100 calories a day, and it seems so insignificant, especially day by day. But then to your point, the way it scopes out larger and larger, just even talking about strictly the weight loss side of it, where it's like, okay, it compounds because it's this never ending, right? It's this commitment to doing it. But the crazy thing is not only was that person just successful at losing that 100 calories, they were successful at doing something successfully, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like that right there. That's really where the magic happens, where you mentally see yourself winning at something, right?
Yep.
And so I, like me personally, it's like, it's kind of silly, but like I like to make, I just thought of this, but like I like to make lists. Like I like to have
a big list guy.
Oh, lists are huge. So I think that alludes to what you're saying about, you know, writing everything that you spend, because I think it just puts an eye out. And I think, you know, it's like I think there's a saying by Abraham Lincoln, right? He says, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spent 6 hours sharpening my axe.
It's so true.
So it's just all the time that you save. I think they say that, you know, it's like all the time you spend preparing saves you like 10% in the actual doing. I might even be undercutting that number. I think it's more, right?
Yeah, I think it might.
But even if it's 10%, that's huge. Time is the most valuable asset we have, right? So this is my own little brain hack that I do. My first objective every time I write a list is to create a list.
Really?
And that might seem kind of silly, but if you think about it, right? Yeah, I always do that. Number one on the list is create list. And so that, to me, that is the first spark. That's the snowball towards, like, no matter what. You know, sometimes we all have rough days, right? Or things just get in the way where you only get half of it done. Or, man, I've had days where just, you know, shit hits the fan and you just have to deal with life and I get none of it done, right? But at least I stopped and I made that mental habit of I'm sitting down, I'm going to plan this day out, and this is how I want it to happen, right? I'm going to do my best to make this happen. And then you check off. That's your first check. Bam, I just did that. So it's like, what's next? And it's just, and that's really the number one, is the next thing, right? But you're consciously showing yourself that you're winning, right? You're doing the right thing, you're on track, and then that's where the magic really happens. I think that's where it snowballs for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about like personal experiences and the compound effect and like how I can relate it back to my own life. And I think the most beneficial as a young man has been establishing the habit since I was about 15, 16 years old, is going to the gym.
Yeah.
Try like consistently. Like I feel jacked up if I don't go 5 times a week now.
Yeah.
Back then it was really a lot, like earlier when I was younger, it was a lot easier to say nah.
Yeah.
But now it's not just the physical side. It's like I go to the gym every day. But what is that? What is the output of that? Well, for one, confidence.
Yes.
Security in yourself.
Yes.
Which comes from confidence. Well, confidence comes from security from yourself.
Right. Your self-image.
Which then allows you to be a lot more comfortable to approach certain different people. Allows you to network even more with people just because you feel confident yourself, the way you talk, you feel, you act. And then that opens up new opportunities that you never would have been able to do if you maybe were overweight and you're kind of insecure. You wanted to stay in your room all day. So that compound effect alone has helped just my business without even knowing that it helped my business.
Exactly.
And that's a very, very cool thing to think. And that's like, you can bring that to so many other parts. Like for me, I've been trying to do reading 15 minutes a day, but I got to be honest, I'm human. The last week, some stuff came up, and I haven't hit my book in like 4 days.
Damn.
And I am bummed, but you bet your ass I'm gonna hit that shit tonight.
You better, man.
Yeah, because
I'll text you. I'll be like, "How was that book?"
But my brain,
I've almost finished mine, so I'm gonna be right there with you.
Good. Yeah. It's funny though. It's ever since I've been reading the book, every time I miss reading, it compounds in my head. So like, for instance, if I miss 4 days, I'm like, I gotta do an hour and 15. That's the way I see it now.
Yeah.
My brain is being programmed and like to see it that way because it kind of is that way.
Yeah.
Like if I miss those days of my 15 minutes, I missed that knowledge going into my brain, so I need to make that up.
Yeah.
But I guarantee it won't go in my brain nearly as good if I just did 15 minutes a day, because now I'm going to be cramming a little bit more.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That ease of just kind of the bite-sized digestible each day rather than the cram.
Yeah.
But making up for it, I think, is huge. And in a way, this is a strange way to think about it, but when you follow through with not only the things you're going to say, but like the accountability side of, like, to your point, it's like man, now I've got to read that for an hour 15. A little bit of punishment, right? Not too much, because if you do too much, I think that can become, if you make a mountain for yourself, then you're like, forget it, right?
Right.
You walk away.
That turns into shutdown.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I think that little bit, and then if you actually follow through with it and you do that hour 15, then you're like, damn, I don't want to do that again.
Right?
You know, I'm going to hit my book. Like, I'm going to be way better about that, right?
Yeah,
yep,
absolutely. Yeah,
because you know it's the right thing, right? So
yeah, of course. And I think that can kind of translate to other things. Like, I mean, cold calling is a great example.
Oh, buddy.
And they suck.
Yeah, personally, that's my big
have you been doing it every day?
See, today.
Ooh, do we catch them off of it? On and off day?
Yes, unfortunately, and I'll be the first to admit it. But yeah, today
We're
was
all human. We're all human.
Right.
We're
it's no excuse. I'm not posing it as excuse. In my head at the time it was. But yeah, there it is, right? Yeah. No. Had an appointment that I needed to prep for. I also needed some resources I didn't have to prep for said appointment, and then of course it canceled. So that was
great.
Yeah, so that's
just
the world.
Worst.
So that was the world just going like, you should have just prospected.
That's the worst.
And I'm just like, but hey, lesson learned, right? No matter what, we're hitting the phones. We're hitting the phones.
For some reason lately it's been like that for me too. Like in terms of like there's been two borrowers that like two agents that have reached out to me to help them. They're borrowers, but we have a good conversation or they don't answer and then it just dies out.
Yeah.
So I'm like allocating this time to make sure they can be taken care of. And then that time is allotted for nothing. It feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird vibe. But then
finding that balance of like, how much of my schedule how much can I assume here that this
I think
is going
that's the toughest part about not the toughest part about our gig, but in terms of scheduling, our career is so difficult to schedule in advance.
Yeah.
Just because things change all the time.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
I adhere to this as best as I can, but it's like trying my best. But then the problem is if people can't do this time, it changes, right? But trying to make like a spot in your schedule where it's like, this is my open schedule time, the appointment time where I'm going to be doing the actual visiting people, servicing now business or something that's about to happen, right? Sure, yeah. But even that, it
happens, man.
It happens. People change, people cancel, people do all that. But the compound effect of life, it's quite a crazy concept because it happens both directions, right? Both, I think, negative and positive. You know, you and I have we've probably seen met people that have been on the other side of that as well, the negative side, and just how you can make a mountain for yourself.
I just thought about this too. Do you remember I sent you a video and it was about podcasts?
Yeah.
And you're in the top 10% of podcasts if you make it past episode 10. And mainly because most podcasts do not even make it to episode 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me feel kind of
technically we're in the top 10%. We're on episode 13. But hey, you know what? The compound effect. We're not going to stop. We're going to continue doing it. There's been a few days where me and Chris are like, we forgot. Like, or like, it's like,
or just schedule wise or whatever's going on.
Especially like because sometimes on my end, it's like, it's not like today was a 40-minute drive for me. Yeah. So it's like, it's so easy to say no.
I commend you for always being on it too. Yeah. It's a lot easier for me. I'm living in the studio a little bit here, but
it will pay. I know in my heart that it'll pay back because we're staying consistent.
Yes.
And it's the best part about it is it is enjoyable. And every time we get done, there's never been a time where we're like, that was just not great.
Yeah.
Like, we always have, it's like, this one didn't have a ton, but I still had a great time.
Exactly.
And you feel a lot better because we did it. And like 95% of the time, I always want to be here, but everyone's human. Sometimes it's like, I'd rather just go home and chill out.
Life happens.
Like, make some dinner and just watch Black Mirror. Yeah. I've been watching Black Mirror.
Is that what you've been watching lately? Nice. Nice. Do they have a new season or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Jesse Pinkman or I think his name is Sean Paul.
Oh, is he the actor in that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a new season. It's been going good so far. I fell asleep into one, but they're fucked up. They do a good job in making but it's like it's a mind bending fucked
yes, yeah, psychological type of thriller horror. It's
I like cool thinkers. When I was younger, I didn't like them just because I was always anxious. So it's like the thinker. Like I did not like the idea of Inception when I was growing up.
Really,
I did not like it.
It is kind of,
I don't know why.
It is kind of nerve wracking if you think about it a little too much.
Yeah. But now I understand it. I think it's one of the best movies.
Oh, it's such a cool movie.
It's such a cool movie.
Probably my favorite movie from him.
I think that comes from mental maturity.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't really know at the end of the day, in terms of the compound effect, it's really just going to be, for me, I'm trying to find two things out of that book. I don't want to take too much. And because kind of like the idea of like, overstimulated and you almost feel like you kind of go into shutdown. So I want to take away 2 items that I can implement every day, and that would be very cool. And I think it'll have the compound effect outcome, hopefully. But I think it's helpful to have the mindset that I was able to adjust late last year was don't expect immediate returns. And that helps my mental state so much, because it just allows me to just, if I do things consistently, if I'm doing them well and also with morality and values attached, things will work out, and I'm being consistent. But if I leave it out there to where I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing the right thing, or I just stop doing it, then it's on me.
Yep.
So if I am doing everything I need to be doing consistently, things will come.
Yes.
Just depends on when.
Yes. And to your point, going back to that compound effect, it's really tough when you're just dealing with those pennies at first, right? Mm-hmm. When you're looking at your friend who just got a briefcase of $3 million too, right?
That would be tough.
Yeah, right. So that's the thing, right? That's the tough part. But whatever you guys are doing out there, whether it's thinking about saving up for your next house, hell, just getting through to the next work week, right? It's like we feel you, but the compound effect. Just know that your efforts over time, they multiply. They don't just add. So put your best into it. Like you said, do it with some heart, some value, some morality. Do the right thing, and good things will come.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think that's about it for us at the Market Matters podcast. It's a little bit shorter today. Not a ton to report, but we want to stay, keep on the positive, keep grinding, keep hustling. Things are happening, and keep following us to stay in touch with everything, all real estate and mortgage related, especially in Northern California. We're here to help you and allow you to make an informed decision with information that we give you. So, episode 13. That's a wrap, guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for joining us. Till next time.